Let's review how to create a cost per application comparison report using the VMware Cost-Per-Application Calculator. The calculator is accessible from VMware's website at www.vmware.com/go/cost-per-app-calc. To create a report, the VMware Cost-Per-Application Calculator requires the user to insert 6 inputs. You gain more insight on each input by clicking on the info button link on the right. This will open up a help box with a description of the corresponding input. Let's run an example to see how the cost per application calculator works. The first input that the calculator requires is the number of applications you intend to virtualize. Such number can be approximated by the number of virtual machines that you expect to deploy. Let's assume, for example, that we plan to deploy 80 VMs. The second input asks for the type of virtualization server we plan to use. As the help box indicates, the virtualization hosts are the servers on which the hypervisor is installed, and that you will use to run your virtualized applications. There are two options available: a 2 CPU dual-core server with 16 gigs of RAM priced at about $5,000, and a 2 CPU quad-core server with 32 gigs of RAM priced at $8,000. Select the one that better represents the type of servers you plan to use. For the purpose of this example, I'll select server B. Next, we need to select the VMware Infrastructure 3 edition. To read more about the features included in each edition, click on the Info button. Let's select the fully featured VI3 Enterprise Edition in our example. Input number 4 asks to select how you plan to deploy virtualization management software. It provides two options: virtual or physical. Virtual means that cost per application will be calculated as if all management software components will be deployed in virtual machines, in addition to the ones that you had selected in input 1. Physical means that cost per application will be calculated as if all management software components are deployed on physical servers. In our example, we will select physical. The last two selections are for cost of electricity and data center real estate. As the info boxes explain, choosing average will apply US averages value. Select high or low if the data center where your virtualization hosts will be located is in a region with higher or lower cost of electricity and or real estate than US average. In our example, let's select average for both. At this point, we are ready to review the results. Press the Submit Calculation button, and in a few seconds the calculator will create a results report customized on your input selection. Here it is. Let's review the report together. The first section provides an introduction for context setting. A first look at what cost per application is. At the bottom of this chapter, you will find the link to a methodology paper that provides you all the details about cost per application and about the calculator itself, assumptions, formulas, and so on. Great reading for a rainy day. On the right side of the page, you can notice a sidebar that contains a quick summary of the main results, our input selection, and possible next steps. Let's move on to the next section, the executive summary. This is where the real meat of the report begins. The first relevant element of the executive summary is the call-out box that describes the results of the analysis. In our example, it says, based on your input, the cost per application to virtualize 80 applications using VMware Infrastructure 3 Enterprise Edition is $3,448, 12% lower than with Microsoft Windows Server 2008 with Hyper-V and System Center. As the footnote number 1 says, these results have been calculated by assuming that a VMware server can run 50% more applications than a Microsoft Windows Server 2008 host. The second key element of the executive summary is the bar chart that compares the cost per application of each of the VI3 editions to the one of Windows Server 2008 with Hyper-V. The bar chart provides a breakdown of the hardware infrastructure portion and software portion of the total cost per application. The bar of the VI3 edition that we selected is highlighted in gray. Moving forward is Table 1. Table 1 shows a first detailed view of the cost per application calculations. Number of applications virtualized, number of VMs per host, number of hosts, infrastructure costs, software costs, total costs, cost per application, and cost per application savings for each of the VI3 editions. Finally, Table 2 shows a feature comparison between each VI3 edition and Microsoft's offering. The report doesn't end here, though. There are several other sections that provide additional analysis and a lot of details. By clicking on the corresponding links, the report will expand the related section. Cost per application definition and scope provides a quick summary of the definition of cost per application. The next section provides an overview of the key features that allow VI3 to run more applications per server than other offerings. At the bottom of this section, you will find a sensitivity analysis that shows the number of additional VMs per ES host required to realize a lower cost per application than Hyper-V. Let's review the results in our example. The callout box summarizes the key outcome of the sensitivity analysis. In our scenario, it says, based on your initial input selection, with just 2 more VMs per host, VMware's solution would be already at cost per application parity plus or minus 3% with Microsoft's. Table 3 provides a detailed view of the sensitivity analysis for each VI3 edition. For example, at the same consolidation ratio of 12 VMs per host, which in our example translates into 7 virtualization servers for each solution, the cost per application of VMware Infrastructure 3 Enterprise Edition is a little higher than the one of Microsoft's solution. On the other hand, both VI3 Standard Edition and Foundation Edition are already at cost per application parity or lower than Microsoft's offering. The table also shows that with only 2 additional VMs per host on VI3 servers, even Enterprise Edition is at cost per application parity or lower than Microsoft's offering. This analysis demonstrates that you don't need that many more VMs per host to have even VI3 Enterprise at cost per application parity with Microsoft's offering. Finally, in Appendix A, you will find a detailed view of all the cost per applications calculations. And in Appendix B, you will find the values of all the main assumptions on hardware infrastructure. This concludes our demo. I hope you will enjoy using the VMware Cost Per Application Calculator. Thank you.